Merry Christmas, Noah. Sit up and listen, and I'm going to tell you all the stories of all the fun that you and I have had over the years. When you were about 2.5 years old, and Nana and I used to babysit you, I would take you to McDonald's and give Nana a break. So we were sitting at McDonald's after you'd played and we had lunch and you were having an ice cream cone, and this man came up to you and said, "Hey, little boy, what do you want to be when you grow up? Do you want to be a hockey player?" And you looked at him and you weren't quite sure what he was trying to tell you, so I thought I would rephrase it for you. So I said, "Noah, what do you want to do when you get big?" And you said, "Papa, I want to let go of your hand." When you were about 4, just out of the blue, one day you said to me, "Papa, did you know that my dad is king of the important people?" One time when I picked you up to take you back to our place, we were babysitting you, I had to make a sales call. I had to stop off and see my good customer, Greenline Hose and Fittings, and my friend there, Sue. So she was quite taken with you, so she took you out into her little store area and showed you what they had out there, and you were quite impressed with all the pipe fittings. And she showed you how they worked and how they screwed together, and you went home that night and you told your mother, you said, "Mom, when I grow up, I want to work in a pipe store, and on the weekends, I'll be an astronaut and go up and count the stars." Do you remember when your mom and I went to Squamish to see Thomas the Train? We had a good day that day, and you wanted to find the face painter. You wanted to get your face painted. So we hunted high and low, and we finally found the face painter. And you waited patiently in line until it was your turn, and when it was your turn, you sat down. The face painter leaned over and said, "Noah, what would you like me to paint on your face?" And you said, "A faucet." And your mom and I and the face painter all said, "Faucet? Where did that come from?" Apparently you just learned that word that day. Noah's other grandfather lives in Nanaimo, and he's Italian, so he's Nono. So Noah was going over to visit Nono, and Nono was quite excited. So Nono says, "When you get here, we'll go to the park." And Noah says, "Well, I do that with my papa." Well, he says, "Well, then we'll go feed the ducks." He says, "I do that with my papa." "Well, then we'll go to the playground." Noah says, "I do that with my papa." So Nono says, "Well, what can we do that you don't do with your papa?" Noah says, "We can vacuum," because he does that with Nana. At Christmas time, I took your family to Van Dusen Gardens to see the light show there. It's pretty good. And the Make-A-Wish Foundation had a booth there. And for $5, you could light a candle and get to make a wish. So I took you over to that booth, and you got to light your candle. And the lady was going to ask you what your wish was. And before I tell you what you wished for, I digress a little bit. And your mother had just been visiting her friend Grace, who's not doing very well, and her husband had been killed in an industrial accident. So back to your wish. So the lady asked you what your wish was, and you said, "I wish my mom's friend Grace starts to feel better, because he was run over by a digger and it killed him and flattened him like a pancake." I remember your first joke, Noah. You called me on the phone and you said, "Papa, do you know who my favorite singer is?" And I said, "I have no idea." And you said, "It's Papa Muscuri. Don't you think that's funny?" And I said, "Yes, Noah, that's very funny and way beyond a 4-year-old. One time, Noah, when you were about 4, you said to your mother, "When I grow up, I want to be a papa." And your mom said, "Don't you want to be a dad?" And you said, "No, I want to be a papa. They have more fun." When you were 4, for my birthday present, your mother bought me a train ticket to Seattle so the 3 of us could go have a day trip on the train to Seattle. So we decided to catch the train from Bellingham so we didn't have to deal with the border. So we drove through the border and left the car in Bellingham, and we got on the train for our train trip to Seattle. Once we were on the train, they announced that there had been a rock slide just outside of Everett. And the rules are that if there's a rock slide, even if the track's not wrecked, they have to have no cars go on it, no trains go on it for 48 hours. So they told us we were going to get off the train in Everett and get on a bus, and then we're going to bus it to Seattle. And you thought that was fine. You're going to get a train ride and a bus ride. So we get to Seattle by bus to the train station, and away we go for our day in Seattle, down on the water. We had a great day. We had a great lunch right on the water. And now we're heading back to the train station to catch our bus to take us to the train. And your mom said, well, we better get something to eat first. And I said, well, I did see a deli about 2 blocks from here. So we went over to the deli, and it was at 5 o'clock, and they were closing for the weekend. So we went in, and the woman said, if you hurry, I'll serve you. So it was kind of rushed, so we got food to go to take back to the train station. So we grab our food, and away we go, back to the train station, and we're sitting there, and your mother says to me, pass me a wipe. I got to wipe Amelia's face. Well, the wipes were in the backpack. Where's the backpack? I left the backpack in the restaurant. I go running back to the restaurant. All the lights are off. It's locked. I can see the backpack on the table, but I can't get it. So I was very distraught, and this woman came up to me and said, what's the matter? So I told her what the problem was, and she said, go see the security guy. He probably has a key. So I go into the parkade. I find the security guy. He goes through all kinds of keys, but he can't get in. He phones the woman. She's on the train going home for the weekend. They don't open again till Monday. But she is coming back tomorrow, Saturday, to drop off some vegetables. So I said to Wendy, let's get on the bus to get to the train. We'll spend the night in Everett. I'll get back on the train. I'll go to Bellingham. I'll get the car. I'll drive it back to Everett. And then in the morning, we'll go back and get the backpack because we can't go home because your passports are in the backpack. So we get to Everett. And I don't have time to go find a hotel because the train's leaving. So we drop Wendy off at the hotel, but they won't let her. They won't give her a room because she doesn't have any ID. You have to have picture ID. They won't take my credit card without her picture ID. So we go back to the train station, and then we find out the train's late. So now I've got time to go. We get the shuttle for the hotel. We go back to the hotel. I check her in with my credit card and my ID. I go back to the train station. The train's late. It's another hour and a half late. I don't get on the train till 11 o'clock at night. An hour train trip back to Bellingham because we can't leave the car there because it's not an overnight parking and it would have been towed. So I get back to the car, I get in the car, I drive back to Bellingham, I get back to the room about 1 in the morning. We have a quick sleep. Noah thought it was great. He had his own bed. He actually had a cot, but he thought it was pretty cool in the hotel room. So we get up at 6 in the morning because we want to get to the restaurant before the woman gets there in case she tries to say there was no bag there because we know the bag's there. So we basically did a stakeout. We sat there till 9 o'clock, and she did show up at 9 o'clock. And we went in, I got the backpack, we got our everything back, and then we drove home. So our day trip was actually a 2-day trip. Wendy said that if it had happened to her and your dad, that she would have cried. And she says that if it would have happened to Nana and Papa, they would have killed each other. I did a bike trip with Delta's fire chief, Dan Copeland. And he said if I wanted, he would set up a visit so I could bring Noah to see the fire hall. So I asked Noah if he wanted to go see the fire hall. And you said, I don't think so because I don't want to go down the fire pole. Well, the fire hall in Tsawwassen doesn't have a fire pole. So we lined up a visit. Noah went and put on his fireman's outfit, and we went to the fire hall, and they were very good. They took Noah around. They showed him everything. They put him in the truck and let him put the lights on, and it was a lot of fun. And then they pulled out the jaws of life, and they asked Noah if he wanted to get his fingernails clipped. Well, he couldn't backpedal fast enough. He thought they were actually going to do it. When you were almost 5, I was giving you an explanation to what a great-grandson or daughter and how that worked. And I explained to you that when you grow up and you get married, and if you have a little baby, that would be my great-grandson or daughter. And you said to me, will you even be alive? And I said, well, I hope so. And then you said, people live to be 100, right? And I said, yes, if you're lucky. And you said, so how does that work then? One day before your 101st birthday, you die? And I said, well, it's not quite that simple, Noah. 1 week before your 5th birthday, I come to pick you up because we're babysitting you. And you said, Papa, do you want to see my booger chart? I said, what's a booger chart? So you take me into the playroom and you show me this chart on the wall with a whole bunch of stars on it. And I said, well, how does this work? And you said, if I can go a whole day without picking my nose in public, I get a star. Well, the booger chart lasted 2 weeks. And they were able to take it down, and Noah was cured. Noah, age 5, now in kindergarten, was playing outside at recess, and he was wearing the toque that Nana knit for him. One of the teachers came up to him and said, came up to him and said, Noah, I really like your toque. And he says, yeah, my Nana knit it for me. She'd knit one for you if you want. I'd call her, but I don't know her number, but my mom knows her number. Noah was sick with a bad cold, stayed home from school, just laid on the couch all day long, watched way too much TV. But Nana and I called to see how he was feeling. And he said, I'm starting to get a little better. And he said, Nana, would you knit me a whoopee cushion? And we were surprised that he knew what a whoopee cushion was, but he probably saw it on TV. So Nana said, no, I can't knit you a whoopee cushion. But Papa went out and bought him a whoopee cushion. When you're 5 years old, nothing is funnier than a fart noise. At Christmas time, our Rotary Club has a community event at Diefenbaker Park where we have a light turning on ceremony called the Gift of Light, and Santa is there. And Noah goes up to see Santa, and Santa says to him, hi, Noah, I remember you from last year. You were only this big, and now look how much you've grown. And then after I said to Noah, so Santa recognized you. That's pretty cool. He says, yeah, I think it was the same Santa helper as last year. Not much gets by him. Last Christmas, Noah's Uncle Brian gave him $20 for his Christmas present. And Noah wanted to use that $20 to buy presents for everyone. Well, where can you buy presents for everyone for $20? At the dollar store. So his mom takes him to the dollar store, and he buys a ball of yarn for Nana, because Nana likes to knit. He buys a Spider-Man puzzle for Papa, for something for him and Papa to do together. For Nono, the other grandfather, he buys a bag of mustaches and a Tinkerbell, because Nono likes to do silly things. He buys a scrub brush that looks like a flower head for the other grandma, because she likes to clean. He buys golf balls and golf club covers for Uncle Steve, because, well, Uncle Steve likes to golf. And he buys a scarf for his Aunt Marissa, because she likes pretty things. We had just spent the day at Grouse Mountain with your mom, and we were coming back and it was late, and your mom didn't want you to fall asleep, because if you fell asleep in the car, you wouldn't sleep well when you got home. So I give you $10, and I says, Noah, you can keep this $10 if you don't fall asleep. Then you started to tell me about your Christmas present story and spending the $20 and buying presents for everybody, which I thought was very thoughtful. So I said, Noah, you were starting to learn that it is better to give than receive. And he said, if that was true, why don't you just give me the $10? I said, if I give you the $10, will you share it with your sister? He said, I might give her a few of my coins. Noah's been put into a reading group in kindergarten. And as part of learning how to read better, the kids are given 2 books to take home every night to read. They're very simple books. And so the teacher gave 5 extra books to Noah and said, just read one of these a night as extra. So he came back the next morning to kindergarten, and he couldn't look Mrs. Thornton in the eye, and she knew something was up. So she went up to him and she said, Noah, what's wrong? He says, Mrs. Thornton, I couldn't help myself. I read all the books last night. One of the fun things Noah gets to do in kindergarten is to take things apart. Who doesn't like to take things apart? So Mrs. Thornton asked the kids to bring in old wrecked appliances that they could just take apart, so the kids could take them apart and see what's inside. So Noah had brought in an old vacuum cleaner, and they were taking it apart, and Mrs. Thornton couldn't get one of the screws out, and she was getting quite frustrated. And Noah said to her, just remember, Mrs. Thornton, it's lefty-loosey, righty-tighty. Now that Noah's in kindergarten, we babysit Amelia on Wednesdays. And it's usually my job to go pick her up. So this one particular morning, I go to pick Amelia, and Noah's always sitting in the living room, eating his breakfast, watching some TV, while Wendy gets Amelia ready for me. So this one particular morning, I look, and Noah's sitting on a stool in the middle of the living room. And so I said to his mother, what's up with the stool? Why isn't he sitting on the couch? She said, well, you know that shark tooth necklace you brought back from Mexico for him? Well, he poked a hole in the couch with it. I asked him, I said, Noah, did you do this? Now, most kids, I think, at that age would probably say they didn't. But Noah says, yes, I was conducting an experiment and it worked. My Auntie Grace is 99 years old. And she loves Amelia and Noah. She's always asking Wendy to bring them over for a visit. But packing up the two kids in the middle of the day around nap time is always quite difficult for Wendy. So we were having Amelia's second birthday party. So I suggested, why don't I pick up Annie Grace and bring her to the party? And that way you get your visit in, no fuss, no muss, and I can take her back. And recently Annie Grace had just got back from Winnipeg from saying goodbye to her 71-year-old son, my cousin Jack, who was dying of cancer. And the night she got back is the night that he died. So I asked Noah if he wouldn't mind making Annie Grace a very nice happy card, and maybe you could lift her spirits a little bit. He had already made her a birthday card that had 99 all over it. So he said he would do that. So I brought over Annie Grace, and he gave her the two cards, and the feel-good card had a sun on it, and it had rainbows on it. It was very, very pretty, and Annie Grace just loved it. So he said to Annie Grace, he said, Annie Grace, when you turn 100, can I take you to school for show and tell? She looked up at me, and I said, hey, if you're up for it, I'll take you. A week before Noah's 6th birthday, he had 2 loose teeth. The front, bottom, 2 teeth are loose. And he's wiggling them like crazy because he's fallen in love with spending money, and he wants his money. So he's having dinner one night, and he gets up from dinner, and he realizes that he swallowed one of these teeth. And he's beside himself because he thinks he's not going to get money from the tooth fairy. So the mother suggests that why doesn't he write a note to the tooth fairy explaining it to her and then put it under his pillow. So he does that. He gets up in the morning, and don't you know, the tooth fairy didn't come. He was beside himself. He sat down at breakfast and he was whining to his mother, why didn't the tooth fairy come? And Wendy was just trying to explain it to him. Maybe the tooth fairy forgot or was busy. He gets up from breakfast. He swallowed the second tooth. He pulls out his note. He amends it to say now it's 2 teeth. He puts it under his pillow. And in the morning, he gets up. He looks under his pillow. And sure enough, there's 2 toonies there. The tooth fairy has been there. And on his note, the tooth fairy has made a note. And the tooth fairy said, Noah, the reason I didn't come the other night was I knew you were going to lose your second tooth, and I didn't want to make 2 trips. We're not sure what prompted this, but one day Noah just announced that he loved the world of 6. That the world of 6 was way better than the world of 5. Well, Noah, we hope you enjoy your world of 6. Noah, Nana and Papa love you very much. You have brought so much joy into our lives. We are so, so proud of you.